Mm. All right. Let's see if I can screw this up today. Hello, everyone. Gonna do a live stream. Let's see if I don't know if anyone's even gonna be here today. Gonna do a live stream of hopefully just a paint through of Pestilence Pete. Okay, doing contrast paints. So let's see what happens. Slapchop. I'll explain that in a second, and we'll go from there. Let's see what happens. Hello, Greg. Hey, Jay. Hey, Zippy. That's all right, Mike. Promised I'd be on here. Then John was up. You got to do it. Just got in from fixing stuff, and let's see what happens. I'm gonna screw. I got to fix something, which I can't do it until we're live. I realize. So, how are you guys today? Hello, Mr. Eubank. Hey. Oh. Just finished fixing a problem sink. Dude, I was working on. So the lawnmower saga kind of continues. My dad gave me theirs, and he decided to get a lawn service. And it's the same lawnmower I used from high school. And the belt keeps falling off after he put it. So yeah, I was outside fixing stuff as well. So I have to check one thing here. YouTube chat will be up. Let's get this there. I don't know. This is like impossible to see on this window, but that's all we can do. And I got to check one thing over here on the bench before we go. There's one camera not working, I think. So let's do a test real quick. Yeah, see this? Why is this not working? That's what I don't understand. So how's everybody else doing today? What's going on? While I try and fix this one issue. And why? What is this? Well, I think it'll be okay. I don't know why my face cam thing isn't working. Let's test. Oops, got a rubber glove hanging there. That's not good. I changed cameras a little bit. So let's test this shoulder on. Does that work? Does this move? Yes, that's fixed. So now I can get in a little closer, I think, on the sides. Let's test. There we go. That kind of works. Then this works. Let's zoom in. Let's get set up. Zoom in a little. And there we go. Okay, I think that works, guys, right? I have the power of cameras. All right. What's going on? So what was wrong with the sink, Greg? That's always fun. And let's get started. Okay. So you'll see in the title, it says Slapchop. All right. Slapchop why does that not work? So just me. So Slapchop is, hey, Witty Admiral. Slapchop is a technique name that I think a lot of garage kit guys might not be familiar with, but it's something the miniature guys call it's kind of like speed paint. So what you do is you first do your zenithal kind of highlight, which is, for people who don't know what that is, you prime everything in black, and then you kind of pick your light source. And for this one, I picked straight kind of just down. All right. So then you spray everything in black, then you spray a gray coming down, and then you spray a white so that it gives you your shadows pre-made in there. Okay. But with Slapchop, and even with just zenithal, sometimes it's best to go back and do a black wash in certain areas and then dry brush with some white before you put the paint on. Build up 6. Dude, yep, I've got this. Oh, I had the same problem. That sucks. So it's great pipes here. I just got a thing from my thing. They're replacing all the lead pipes. So lead poisoning's over. But that's what we're going to do. So we're going to try and match. And one of the problems I had to be here to do it. I need to put a picture here so we can look at it. So image. And then I got to pick it, browse, pictures. Get to see how everything is how the sausage is made today. Is there any weird feedback on the mic? Because I left one fan over there and sometimes that was messing with it before. So if the mic sounds weird, let me know and I'll go turn that fan off. I don't think you can hear it though. So this is what we're aiming for. I'm going to put this over here. So I'm going to turn this on and off. The original logo, I think this is a little more yellow here. The goo is a little more yellow. The logo has this stuff as this same kind of color. This green is the same as the skin. Here, that's kind of like green. This is kind of red coming out of his mouth. I didn't notice until I started looking. The one eye is gray, one eye is yellow. It's pink in there, dark in there, and then gray hair, red goo, some red sores. So we'll kind of aim for that and see what happens. I don't know if that's going to work. So let's see if we can toggle that on and off. Let's get rid of that. And let's just get started. So I'm going to start by doing a black wash over everything and then dry it real fast. And I'm just going to use, for this, I'm just going to use Citadel's Nuln Oil. Okay. And I don't think I'm even going to water it down at all or thin it down. I'm just going to go straight. Well, maybe I should. Maybe we should. Let's thin it a little bit. I'm not going to use water. I'm going to use their contrast medium so it doesn't break it up. Or not contrast medium, but Lamian medium. It's kind of like, it's like their version of a glaze medium. I'm just going to pour some in here. And pour some in here. What else is going on, everybody? Chat too small? It looks really small. Figure that out one day. All right, just pouring some of that in there. And I'm going to give it a good mix. And for this, I'm just using this kind of really cheap kind of floppy brush. Do I have a floppier brush? Use this one. Kind of soft. And I'm just going to brush over everything. It's going to take a minute to dry. I'm just going to kind of brush over everything just to bring back some of those really deep, like on there, it kind of lost some of the shadowing. So going to do this, get in there. For sure, get under his chin, get there. We're just bringing back some of the shadows. So let's wipe this on. Especially get in the eyes. Is anybody else painting anything today? I get everywhere. So there's a nice difference. I remember I'm over here now. This kind of moved. That nice pink brain in the back. That'll be fun. Just finished Teenage Werewolf. Nice. Which one? Back this a little bit. Does that work? Should we zoom in? Zoom in a little more. Just kind of working there. And this will dry pretty quick. I'm going to probably have to hit it with a hairdryer to speed it up for the show. But normally I would probably just let it sit for about 45 minutes, which is one of the things too with the contrast paint. You want to make sure it's dry before you move on. And I'm just kind of hitting this everywhere. And I'm not going to worry too much about this right now because I'm going to be holding that so much. I'll just do that separately, the base part. Well, at least get the figure done. Maybe we'll get time to do the bottom. It almost looks good like that, but no, you gotta rest it. Now let's put my glasses on here in a second. Okay, get back in there, get some of those back. Especially like, cause I was shooting the white primer down, it gets into the cracks on the brain and some up here. So we wanna make sure that those shadows have returned. That in there, up in the teeth. Most dramatic, looking at the picture, what's the most dramatic? Kind of like under this cheek, it's really dark here. If you look at the picture, inside here is really dark. So I want to make sure that kind of stays that way. In there, there. I haven't done this in a while. So if this goes completely sideways, it'll be fun. All right. There we go. I think that's good. I think that's good. Get everywhere. Yeah. I think that's good. Good. Quarter scale hammer horror Frankenstein busted Paul Gill. Yep, those are fun. That was fun. Man, I love that new 8th scale Frankenstein that Berglund did. So dynamic looking. That's cool. All right, I'm going to kind of swish around this pool of gnome. All right. Keep going in there a little. I'm going to bring that back. Now, you almost want to over-exaggerate what you're doing with the highlights because they have to pop through the paint. So I'm going to kind of swish this, make sure that that's there. Get darker on the edges in there. All right. Now, let's see if the mic will turn off like it's supposed to when the hairdryer goes. So I'm going to speed this up by drying it. What else everybody got going on today? So now I want to make sure that like, it's not pooling up in too many certain areas. I should probably kind of pooling this up, sucking up where it kind of dripped down too far. Back this off. I know it's gonna be hard to hear. It needs to be darker right there, but it keeps not sticking. Now, a couple of spots I already don't like, I can tell. Like here, it's kind of dripping underneath, so I'm going to soak that up under there. A little bit, it was too much. Get in there a little bit. Starting to get to the sticky stage. Just going to get back into that brain. Trip to the brain, trip to the brain. Hiding from your family. That's the best thing to do. Oh, that's funny. All right, so here we go. This has to dry a little more before we move on, because the next step is just dry brushing for a minute. So, all right, let's back that a little bit. It's pretty good. Dry some more. The paint drying stage is always the most fun. And you can always kind of fix some of that later, like if it's the shadows aren't good enough. And I'm going to try and make the goo in there about the yellow of the background, I think. Wish this dried faster. Come back in 5 minutes. The hair's almost the right color to begin with. It's kind of funny. My Zenithal, the colors I used to begin were just the straight out of the rattle can monument primers. So it was black first, then they're gray, then white. And then I think I might have hit it with like some Mr. Hobby white because it was a little brighter white maybe. That still needs to dry a little more, but I'm going to start just kind of getting ready here. What's next? So the next stage is dry brushing, just some white. So I'm going to just use this dry brush palette here, and I'm just going to pick one of my giant kind of dry brush brushes like this. Let me get rid of this picture for a second. If you don't have a dry brush brush, they're great. They're kind of almost like makeup brushes. They feel so soft. They feel so nice. They feel so nice on your skin. Maybe I'll make this a little bigger. Can I make this bigger? Okay, so for my white, I am going to use like the brightest, just normal plain. I'm going to use this heavy titanium white from Monument. Okay, so I'm going to use that. Give it a good shake on the stir thing, which I saw one of those magnetic mixers. Hey, Dominique. How are you? I'm not going to be really using a wet palette today or anything, just straight up paint. Okay. So I'm going to get just some in here. It's a nice creamy white. Okay. And stop there. You're not going to need a lot because we don't need to do a lot. This still isn't dry enough to move on. Probably should have done this before you got here, but I wanted everyone to see what it actually does. So let's dry. There's going to be a lot of this today, I think, drying. but we're close. Yeah, this was a 3D printed, just dry brush palette. Just did it on my Neptune. And you can get them over, they have tons of them. Just try dry brush palette on any of the 3D sites and you'll get them. And the reason, I mean, forever I was using towels like everybody else, but it picks up fibers from there. And you kind of get that chalky look because it soaks too much of the water out. You kind of want to keep your brush kind of wet when you're doing it. So I'm going to dip that in there and get my brush wet before I do it. Let it soak in a bit. Come on, dry. All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little. If I got time, I'm going to maybe print a few of these and bring them to Wonderfest. People need them. All right, so that's damp a little bit. Got it damp. And I'm just going to, feels pretty good. Get some of the white. I'm just going to dry brush, get most of this off. I want to go in circles. So I'm just going to kind of go back, pick out where I want most of the highlights at, which up here for sure. Dry brush there a little. Here, get on its face a little bit. There, shoulders, hair. Just all over, kind of picking out some of that. Let's get there a little. All right. This is just so that this pops through the paint as we start. So we want to make sure it's a little too heavy there, but it'll be okay. In this top part of the brain. Hey, Banshee. What's up, Russell? Doing that. So, get an idea. Get that part there. That should be good. And there. So, onto here. There's still some pooling. Have to get rid of it. Just for terms of speed. All right. There we go. I think that's good enough to start. So it might not look like we did a lot, but we kind of did. So we deepened the shadows. We popped the highlights out a little bit. And it gave us just a little bit. So I'm going to hit there again. Trying to pick out that detail. All right. That works. Most of this, you're looking at it from the front. Let's hit the letters too. Hit these things. I'll bet you're busy, Mr. Banshee Studio. You get a pretty popular release this week, huh? Congrats, guys. That's pretty crazy. All those orders that fast. That's one of the fastest moving things I've ever seen. So there we go. I'm going to kind of do a little more. Because this is going to be, you know, weathered metal anyway. So you kind of want it randomly looking. But let's just do that. All right. Clean that brush. Spilling water everywhere. We'll go from there. All right. So now it comes to color choices. We are trying to match, you know, that. So the color I was already thinking, let me stir this up pretty good. There's a few greens that, so I'm going to be using Citadel's contrast paint for this. I'm just going to grab some of their greens that are close. They're not perfect. They're not best matches, but I'm grabbing all their greens that I have. And I have, I think, all the contrast colors. So if I look, I think this one, or I was thinking Plague, this one might be a little too, dude, you should be. That went quick. So I'm not quite entirely sure which color. This one looks a little too brown green. This one looks a little too nuclear green. This one looks a little too green. This one might be close. So let's, no, too dark. I'm still thinking this is my, it almost needs to be mixed with yellow to get that close. What's this? No. Wait, let's try this. I think this will be too dark. But let's try and find the perfect one. This will be too dark, way too dark. And a lot of these have sat for a while. So I don't know, maybe this mantis one might be the way to go. This looks too nuclear to me. And this looks too, I don't know. Since it's Plague Bear, maybe we should use the Pestilence one. I'm going to test these both. Let's try it. This looks too... Although this is actually blue, achromatic blue. This looks a little... It's too blue. I'm not going to do that. This emerald is too emerald. Warp lightning? No. I think we're going to go with a mix of colors. So I think, to me, this mantis and the plague, this looks, that looks more like the juice. Orc flesh, no. Maybe. Let's try that. Nah. All right. So I'm just going to real fast get a piece of paper so that we can kind of test them first, just on some white. Stir these, scrape the bottom. What else going on, everybody? Good. Because they do settle, you got to shake them really good. Okay, so let's try that. And I'm going to be using these straight out of the pot. You know what? I think this is my color. I think that's the color. Maybe mixed with some of this. This looks too green. Yeah, way too green. Well, let's start with just getting a brush and using this one for a second. Which one? Because I have it. Well, I don't have their one step. I have their washes. So I'm going to go with this first. So let's just see what it looks like on the paper. The paper looks a little too yellow. Yeah, that's not going to work. This one, the Mantis Warriors green, I think might be. It's a little better, actually. A little closer. I don't like the way that looks. This one, it's a little too green. Wonder if I mix, which will be hard to do, mix some Mantis Warrior. Let's see if I do that. Some Mantis Warrior with a touch of this. What's that going to look like? The Mantis Warrior's not bad. Doesn't really make a difference. I'm just going to go Mantis Warrior. Let's see what it does. Let's just see what it does. It doesn't have to be bright yellow green. Yeah, actually, I think I'm sitting right here. Yeah, that's if we were painting it normal. That would be, yeah, that is very close. It's close. That'd be if I was doing regular paint, I would probably be using that. So we're just going to go with Mantis Warrior green. And if it's different than the box, that's fine. Or different than the logo. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of want people to see how it works. Okay. So the brush I'm using is just a wash brush. It's really kind of just, you know, floppy. It's not anything, but it has enough of a point that I can control it. So let's get rid of this picture and go from there. Now, this paint spills over easy, and I don't have my, yeah, I do. They're buried. Let me grab one, because I know I'm going to need it. Where'd I put them? There they are. 3D printed these a while ago. Of course, they're jammed in there. Really? 3D printed these a while ago. And these are great. So you put the cup in there. And this is why 3D printing's awesome. And then oops. And then they're made so that this catches under there and holds the lid. And you don't tip over the bottle. It's amazing. And I'm just going to go with that. So it's my coffee. Let's get a sip. So yeah, I do have the clear contrast medium. I'll be using that if I need it, which I might. I have some extra because that is running out. I thought I had extra. Maybe I don't. I had extra a week ago. Oh, I have it. Technical. Yep, got extra. So we're good. So if I need to thin it down, I will. But I'm just going to go straight out of the bottle just to see. So let's start with here and just kind of drag that color down. And you can already kind of see what it does. It gives you your highlight, your shade, and your middle tone all in one fell swoop. And that's the beauty of these paints. So if you're just trying to, and they're invented for people who are trying to paint like a big army of you know, models, and you can just do it really fast. And they're the consistency of like an ink. They're very like FW ink style feeling. Look how beautiful that is from the get-go. You can just kind of wipe off if you get it in places you don't want. And you can't really judge the color based on what it looks like in the bottle. You can get close from the beginning, but it changes so much once it hits the surface. And you kind of have to know how familiar you are with the color range to know kind of what it's going to do as it gets on there. This is just, yeah, one coat of paint. I'm just going to work my way around. And you don't really, once it starts to dry, you don't want to go back over it until it's, sometimes it'll like kind of gum up and won't, you'll screw it up actually. You want to go over it. Now I ordered the new set of washes from AK, not their speed paint style stuff, but the washes. I've been meaning to try those. They're on their way. So I'm going to do a video with those. These. Just get right up where you want to be. I mean, look at that already. It's fun. It's so crazy. So you do all of your work before. And then your color is, you want to, you're more worried about black and white before you worry about any color. And then the color just kind of ties it all together. And it's an advanced kind of like even oil painting scheme. When I was in college, there's the painting teacher basically taught this as his oil paint technique, is you would do everything in blacks, whites, and grays, and then put your color over that. And you do the same effect, really. I'm going to try and avoid anywhere I don't want it. Straight up. What does it look like on the gums? Is it red right there? No, it's green. Okay. I was worried that this part was red. It's not. Gonna avoid, get up in here, there. And they just called it, like the miniature guys called it Slapchop because you're just kind of slapping paint on there. And that's where the name came from. And it's meant to be fast, just slapping it on and you're done. And it works. I think it's a great, like if you're teaching a kid how to paint or someone who's never painted before, this is a great way to just have some really good success right off the front, right off the bat. Like you can just put this up and go, man, that looks great. And you didn't really have to learn anything. And it inspires people, I think, to keep painting. I think when you try to do more advanced stuff, people tend to get frustrated and say, that looks terrible. And this is a great way of almost cheating the system. I got some paint on his hair, so I'll have to touch that later. It's a great way of cheating the system and being successful, which is great for people who have a hard time. That's Greg. That's a good question. I don't know. Is it cheating? Is it? I think if you do it well enough, you could put it in the contest. If you just do one coat all the way around, I think a good judge would say, hey man, that's just straight up contrast paint. But it's a great starting point. And then you can go back and add anything you need to add. Is it better on this camera? I'm not in the right place anymore. Where am I? How did this get moved? Focus. And I'm going to go in there, even though later on I'm going to probably just do that dark. And since I'm right-handed, I should have the camera over there. Note to self, camera's in the wrong place. Blocks. What if I do this? Is that better? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I got messed up. And it really, I mean, these paints have been around for a while. It's just ink, really. I think in the long run, it's been there. I'll probably get a smaller brush and get a spot. So for these, I'm doing green because it's green skin kind of floating down, flopping down, whatever you want to say. And these are great. You can airbrush them as like filters or almost like a glaze. You don't, and they were, I just say that's my favorite use for them is airbrushing them. You get great smooth blends with it. Oops, touched that while it was drying. And it dries relatively fast. It's not, like after about, I would say about 45 minutes, you should be good to kind of, like if you don't hair dry it or do anything special to it, should be good. What is this? What is this? A big hole. Some of those holes are red, some aren't. Just kind of skip them. Get a smaller brush and go in there. And then you can go back when it dries a little. If you don't like it, darken it up a bit. Add some layers on there. That looks a little too go. Look at that. That's pretty funny. I don't know if it's cheating. It just, yeah, I think decals for eyes is cheating. But this is just, it's the same as a wash. You're just doing different painting techniques. So I don't know. It's one of those weird kind of things. And it sometimes it looks good. So if it's done well, you never know. I really think this is a great starting point. So you do this and then go with your regular colors, your regular paints, and start picking out stuff that needs to be picked out and made to look better. Like in here, I'm gonna probably go back later. But that looks pretty good. That's one coat of paint. Now, yeah, I think it's a little more blue, that color in real life on the picture. I'm going to be good with this, I think. All right, so let's try and get some other colors. While that's drying, let's do the red. So I'm just going to do this Blood Angels red because it's very just red. Yeah, I totally agree. That's, yeah. If you're just like, I want to just paint this model, I don't care. Just want it painted. I think it's the way to go. And you just want to throw colors on something. So here's the red. Now this red is very crimson. Let's see. It's like a red. All right. So for the red, it's the same color red. Hey, thanks, Gary. The red on it's the same red on his tongue. It looks a little more orange on his tongue. But let's see what happens. So this might need to be thinned down a little. I'm going to kind of just see what happens here. And this is where, like, that first coat of green is going to look cool. This is when you're like, okay, man, that needs more washes. This needs a little, like, darker in that area. So, yeah. I probably needed a little more shading on the red area. So you do get the blackish kind of color on there. See, I got it somewhere I didn't want. So let's see. So we'll just get some water and kind of feather it out. Ah. How did I drop that brush? I don't even know where it went. What? I lost a brush. How's that possible? Hold, please. Going down. Like, for real? Are you serious? Hold up. Guys, I completely lost a paintbrush. I don't even know where it went. What the heck? It fell into a black hole. What the hell? Whatever. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. How do I lose a paintbrush? So let me switch over to this. So there we got that. It's gone. Like, literally, I don't even know where it could have went. All right, you can see as that's drying, it's looking pretty good. So we got that. All right, let's get rid of the red for a minute. There's another color up there I'm going to use for the, I'm going to use this for the tongue. It's this Magmadroth Flame, which is more of an orange red orange. Like, how did I lose a brush? It's probably on my lap. All right, so for this one, like this kind of orange color, this pinky orange, it's close to what it is on camera. Because to me, the tongue looks a little different in the picture than the goo. So I'm just going to go straight out of the bottle onto there. And I think that works. Yeah. Now, I did get it on the tooth, of course. So I'm going to hit, actually, let me just do a little alcohol and see if that will instantly just kind of, I just get a little alcohol. Instantly ruined that alcohol. Clean my brush. Let's try that again. See if I can use that to clean that up a little. I don't want that showing through later. All right. So stop there. Use those two. I use this color. I've used 3 colors so far. 3 colors, and that's what we got. Thanks, Greg. And then, so let's start putting in, because if you look at the picture again, it has, like, I got to do the dark areas. So this is a pink. Is there a pink? No. This, oh yeah, this. All right, let's try this. And I think I'm going to do the brain the same as this pink. So this is called volup. It's not voluptuous. Where is that? How do you say that? Volupus pink. Goddamn Warhammer and their paint names. And I did put an agitator in each one of these because they do like tend to settle on the bottom. And let's test this out. I don't know. Kind of this one I almost want to thin down a little. I'm going to thin this one a little so it's not as pigment heavy. Hold that up for a second. All right. Nope. Okay. So to do that, I'm taking just some regular, just the contrast medium. They sell it separately, of course. And I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to just pour a liberal amount. I'm very unscientific when I paint. So I'm just going to get kind of like a scoop. Let's call it that. A scoop of the pink. Put it in there. That's close, but that might be a little too transparent. So let's do another scoop. And we'll go with that. All right. Very, very thin. And then let's put this in this eye pink area stuff. Close that. Get that dry. And let's see if that it's too thin. Yeah, see, that really didn't do anything. That's way too thin. So I'm going to go straight with just straight out of the bottle. It's kind of hard to go backwards. If you do it too dark in the beginning, it's kind of a bit of a mess. Of course, I get it on the eye, which I don't want. So I'm just going to kind of mix that around in there. And it doesn't, this is one of those areas where sometimes there's not a perfect color. Another brand might have a really good pink for this. I'm going to go around the eye and then kind of erase it. And I'll probably have to repaint that eye. Just kind of wiping it away. Go back to the alcohol. Where is that? Let's get some of that. Break that down and erase it. There we go. So I think that's too red. It's not as pink as I would want. So that might be somewhere where you would have to go back and do that in regular kind of paint, that area, and do a wash. So I would maybe, if I was going to, maybe let's do that. Let's do, well, I kind of want to try it. Should the brain be pink or gray? What's up, Figure Kid Garage? Hey, Ansel. How's it going? Thank you. What do we do? What do we do? What color should a brain be? It's one of those things that it's not in the picture, so you kind of can't tell what color it's supposed to be. So what do we do? What color is a brain? And I don't like that I got some color here. So let's see. Take some alcohol and kind of erase just real quick. Some of that mixed gray and pink. Yeah, that's kind of. taking some plain alcohol and feathering out. Break that down. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It would be more cartoony. So if it was cartoony anyway, it's going to look, I think that. So let's just go straight. Let's go straight with this and see. I'm going straight out of the bottle again. This looks better here than it does in the eye socket. That's for sure. Just gonna go with this. Oh, I forgot to do the flesh around his head. Oh no. All right, let's do this first then. Everybody else, you forgot to. Just kind of hitting it in there. But notice this, I think this is the important thing. Notice that it's so dark there and you get this natural kind of blend. Now let's try, I'm going to try something else here a second. So before I go back and fix the flesh around his head, let's clean this brush really good. Okay, while this is still kind of... Why am I splashing so much? Let's try and clean this up a little right there. There. All right, while that's doing that, missed a spot. That darkened up really nice. Looks pretty good. So before we do that, let's just take some straight alcohol and just kind of tap it. Just kind of tap it in some of the higher spots. And you're going to get, it's going to break that down and make it a little pink. Just kind of wipe away the original paint. And in between, it might be too much spots, but let's just kind of brush it back kind of over that area. So you're basically kind of erasing. It's going on. Let's get a little more alcohol. Yeah, see, that totally broke it down right there. So I'm going to go back. I might throw a little blue in there. Yeah, I'm going for cartoony. Like, it's not going for the cartoon. It's not supposed to look real. Just kind of wiping that off, blending this up. Now, there. That kind of works, right? So now I'm going to go with a little bit of blue. Let's just do a little... What's this? No. Let's try this. Just this straight kind of just blue. Okay. I'm going to put a little, another cup. This is how I end up with a billion cups of paint. It's a little more contrast medium. Little contrast medium. Nope. Yes, that's contrast medium. Or did I do Lamia medium last time? All right, anyway. I'm going to do one scoop out of here. One scoop. Like that. Mix it all up. Now let's see what happens. Oops. Place. Just kind of mix it just into other places. Take some of that and go into some of the deeper areas and kind of tap it in there. Guess that kind of looks okay. Here a little. Here a little. I think that works. So now I'll go back to that straight alcohol. Where's that at? I'm going to just kind of tap that around. It's me have ruined it. No? It's a little too purple now. No, maybe not. I think that kind of works. Let it dry. Focus back. I'm going to pull out some of those colors from the edges. Just dipping my brush in the alcohol. Yeah, I think that kind of works. Yeah, I'll just hit that with some gloss after I do everything. So that should be okay. So now I got to go back to the part I missed, which was the green. So what are we at? 4 colors now only? No, 5. So I've used 5 colors total, and that's what we got. 5 paints total. Well, we got to count the white and stuff, but it's pretty good. The white, black, and gray. I need alcohol again. I'm gonna wipe off some of this. That. And the alcohol will reactivate the primer color, so you kind of gotta go, and it'll get kind of sticky. You'll feel it as you're kind of erasing. Just gonna kind of erase. You just want to be quick about it. And go from there. You know what? Let's do that. So let's do the green, so that has time to dry. And then, again, straight out of the bottle, going right over his skin. I'm going to come back and go closer in a second. I just want to make sure I hit all of this. It looks funny. Oh, you totally could. That'd be great for that on a mutant. Dude, I love the Metalud mutant models. All right. There we go. There we go. Now I'm working my way in a little more because I don't want to taint the color. So I'm a little up close. All right. I think that's good. Get right on this edge. Bring some of that out a little. I think that looks okay. All right. So we got that. Now, eyeballs. Let's do, I think the eye, so you got to kind of think of like the graphic designer people when they're doing this, they would use the same color ink or paint to for the, they would probably do the same yellow. If you're going to do yellow, it's probably going to be the same yellow that I'm going to try and do the yellow here. So I'm going to make the eye match this kind of the goo in there. So I'm going to do that, I think, all at the same time. I want to get, I'm not happy with this. This needs to be a little more pink in the eye socket. So I think that's something we'll have to fix later. I don't know. It's not bad. Not bad in there. But it's not, doesn't match the picture very well. But, so now, this Leviathan purple, I don't want that. I want some shyish purple, no. Dreadful Visage is a great color, but I'm looking for, where is it? No, no. No. Where is it? Black Legion. So this is like the contrast version of black. And I'll give this a good stir. And we're going to use this, you know, kind of notice it is like, it is black. It's black. But I want to get that down into the eyeball area in the back of the mouth. So get right up in there, go behind the eye a little and feather it up a little bit. Now you'll notice I got it here. That's okay. I just got my wet brush and I'm going to take that same, oh man, I just put my finger in the pink. I'm going to put this over the eye totally. Okay. Putting it over the eye totally. And as it's drying, before it dries, I just got a wet brush and I'm going to kind of wipe it away. And keep cleaning my brush to get that kind of blend and match kind of like the gray eye they have there. Now it looks a little too white. Nah, it looks okay. From the side, it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to come back, let's drag some of this color back over it. I'm happy. All right, got that. That looks okay. Pointy brush. I'm going to take just a pointy brush, tiny one. I'm going to paint a circle. It's pupil. Doesn't really have iris, so feather this up a little more. I'm going to go back to straight alcohol. Let's do that. And just let that sit here and see what happens. Oops, not on screen. That looks a little too white now. And I'm trying to mimic they kind of have like a feathering or speckling on there. So I'm trying to just kind of model that. Match the picture. Yeah, I think that kind of works. I'll probably go back later. I don't like this. ARC Flex. So I think I can always go back later. That's pretty close. I don't want it straight gray though, and I don't want it straight white. So I'm gonna leave that like that for now. All right. This eye. Let's do the black first. Hold my breath. Let's leave that. That. Now we're gonna go into the dark areas. So let's get inside here. Back down in there. Roof of the mouth. Now again, we're not painting this to look like a real zombie. We're painting it to look like the logo. So it's kind of cartoony looking. It's not going to look like anything other than that. That's going to push back that mouth. Wet this bit. And kind of feather the two together. Good. Now, I got to go back and get that green again. So now we're on what? 6 colors? There's a couple spots I forgot. I remember. In between his teeth, I want to make sure that these are now this is dry enough to where I could, if I didn't like this, I could say, hey, that needs to be a little darker, or that needs to be have a little more of the green, and you just go back over it and it's going to darken it up a little. So like to kind of push the shadows and stuff, I go back with the green, the original green. I go in here a little, darken it. Go in here a little because I know that's where some of that shadow is. Darken that up. And just kind of wet blend your way around. Here, here, under there a little, here a little, there a little. And then you can also, I need to get in the nose with the black. Maybe like, I don't know if you can see it, down in here, add a little more. This is why I love this stuff. And even like, I tend to stay away from my airbrush, and I talk about it a lot. It's freeing to just kind of push paint around. And it makes it a little more fun. And you're not worried about airbrush not working. Just kind of pushing colors, blending, trying new things. Like there would be a little bit of a shadow back under here. So I'm going to add a little more green and kind of feather it out. Probably darken this up a little right here. Add a little more color right there. Same thing on the other side. Go down in there. There a little more. And there's no like stopping. You can go and get regular paints and paint right over this stuff and use this as just your jumping off point. Nothing. He pays me nothing ever. Zippy, no way. You can do it. I'm going to hit that temple a little more so that the cheekbone pops out. Do that over here too. And then let's get a little more under there, some in here, there. Actually, he gave me the kit, so that counts as a surprise. So this is the least I could do. And so just so you know I'm not lying, Mike, Phantom is next. It's been sitting here for months, for years, actually. I want this a little darker. There. Okay. I think that's okay. Let's do, so my worry, the one I was thinking about, how am I going to do this? I mean, the hair is close already. It's not that different than what it is. I'd almost want to just paint the hair, but we're going to try and keep this all contrast for now. So that's too blue, the Space Wolf gray. The other gray that they have is this Briar Queen Chill, which is kind of like a blue gray, which I don't want. The other gray, I think the best way to maybe do this is I might just use their shade, which is, let's try this. I want to see what it looks like. So I've never used this. I don't think I've used this color for anything. Is this Blight Gray? I only think I opened it to put the agitator in there. Man, it is settled. So this might work. So this is a shade. It's their version of washes. It doesn't have the same properties as, say, the contrast and stuff, but it might give me what I want. And this might actually work on the eyeball too. Once I get this stirred up, I'm going to shake it again. And for the teeth, I might just do a wash over. I don't know. All right, so here, let's close that. This is their gray. And again, this is a wash. It is not the same. But let's see what it does. And I'm going to go over. Yeah, see, this will cover up those really dark, but it kind of works. It gets us a little closer to the color of the art, so I'm just going to go with it. And maybe do a darker wash on top of it later. But that gets us close. And I feel like it almost feels cheating if you just leave it zenithal primed. And there's a couple spots I know I got to clean up. But that kind of comes close. It doesn't look like on camera that much of a difference. But it gives me a little bit of a different base to start with. Oops, went too far. Yeah, that does. It totally does. It does look trippy. Trip to the brain. Trip to the brain. All right. What band is that? Trip to the brain. Come on. Where are my real people at? Trip to the brain. What band is Trip to the Brain? Anybody? Actually, chat will probably block it. The YouTube will block the name of the band. Suicidal Tendencies. So just kind of bringing this around. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this or not, but it kind of works. Yep. All right. I think I got everywhere I wanted to get. That actually doesn't look terrible. As just a straight wash over it. You probably go back and pick it out. But since we're trying to keep it simple and fun, I would almost just leave that. You could probably darken in some of the, that's probably what I'll do is put some darker shadows in there in a minute. But for the most part, that's pretty close. Miss some spots. And I got it somewhere I don't want it. It's cleaned up pretty good, so that's good. Everybody, I'm going to test something. Skip this ad. I just want to try and see if this works for the other live streams. Where do I do that? Everybody skip this ad. If you're watching, skip the ad. Putting it in now. I would like to know what ad they put on the stream. Let me know what it was. Skip it. I just want to see what happens. Skip it. Skip it. Tell me what the ad was. Did everyone get the same ad? Just go ahead and skip it. Because I've kept it on manual. I don't want the ads just running the whole time. So once in a while, I'll just throw an ad in and just skip it. What was the ad? Uh-oh. Did an ad go? Nothing yet? Let me try again. Did anyone get an ad? Zilch? All right, let's try this again. Ads inserted. Did it work? Maybe it just picks certain people. No? All right, well, whatever. Credit karma. Well, at least it works. Actually, the gray doesn't look, that looks okay, I think. I almost feel like that needs to be darker in that eye. So let's do the teeth. So I think it just randomly, I think it'll randomly pick people it doesn't. Bucket list belt. Nice. I want one of those. And then I don't know when here's the other question about ads. Does it kick you back in time or are you caught up and it's current? Like, does it pause the stream while the ad's going? Or did you miss stuff? That's kind of what I want to know. Because that screws us up for live stream giveaways. If everyone's running on ads and everyone's in different spots on the stream. All right, teeth. So for the teeth, I know in the thing they're just straight they're just straight white. But I'm going to do this skeleton horde color, which is and I'll probably, this is like their answer to like a bone color. It's a nice color, actually. It's kind of like a sepia something, but I'm going to I'm just going to kind of thin it down with some medium because I don't want it too much. Okay, so let's do that. And drop that. Let me minimize this again. And I'm going to do some contrast medium. Yeah, because on the live streams, I always forget to push the button. So that's why there's never on the live stream, and I have it set to manual. So anytime we do a live stream, and if I don't push the button like I just did, there'll be no ads. And I hate doing it on a live stream because it's annoying. Because I know when I'm watching them, it's a pain in the ass. But I gotta try and survive and pay for cameras. So I'm just gonna really take some of the skeleton horde and thin it down with some of the contrast medium so it looks kind of like that. It almost has like a latte color to it. And I'm going to use that to go over the teeth because I think just leaving them kind of white is going to look weird. So I'm just going to kind of go over it like this. Oops. Like this. Now that might be too thin. I'm going to go back to the original white that I had. A couple spots on there I want to pick out. And one of them is right here. I screwed up. Got some red on there. So I'm touching this up, bringing these back. Now I'm going to go right back over where it was and brush this down. I'm going to hit the tops of the teeth. A little more. Now, I'm not worrying about the back of them. And really, I'm going to take some of that. No. I'm going to take some of this Leviathan purple. Okay. And I know I'm probably going to screw myself up here. But I'm going to thin it down a little bit with some medium. I'm going to do like a scoop. Like I said, I'm going to dip it in there. Just do like a scoop. It's a great purple. Like, I'm going to put some water in with it too this time. Because to me, this blood stuff dripping out, it does it. I mean, you can see it in there. I almost needed a little more. So I'm just going to kind of get like just a tiny bit on my brush of this purple. I'm going to kind of just hit in between here to increase that shadow. Some in there, some in under here, a little there, a little underneath and back. Might not look like much, but I think it's going to go a long way. Get over that. Actually, I could just kind of brush over all of it and kind of wipe it away. Yeah, that makes me feel a little better. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but it. The contrast medium is just the one from Citadel. It comes with it. You can just buy it separate. Come on, camera. What? There we go. Just this technical contrast medium. Games Workshop makes two. They make a contrast medium, and they make my other favorite. I love this stuff. It's the Lamia medium, and it's more of a thinner. This is more for washes. This is for the contrast stuff. So I'll go with that. There might be a couple colors to use later on the back of the brain again, but that does add a little more shadow to that red area. All right. I'm going to try this straight out of the bottle and see what it looks like. just on a tooth. Let's see. So this is Skeleton Horde right on the tooth. And I'm just kind of pushing it away from the tip. So that it kind of ends up in the gum area. Kind of works. So as that's dry, let's do these. Now let's try the same thing with just some alcohol, because underneath there is still that white. Looks kind of cool. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I definitely am gonna try it. That stuff looks fun. It's the same principle, but they're paint like it's different. But it might everything's gonna have a place, and I think that that special sauce medium might be great because it comes in a giant bottle, which if it's as good as the regular contrast medium, if it's the same sort of thing, then man, it's gonna save you some money. But yeah, I definitely want to try it out. Okay, so those, I painted it on there. This is just straight alcohol. Gonna kind of point my brush with it. Let's go right on this front tooth and just kind of break up that paint towards the tip here. I'm gonna wipe it as I go. I'm dragging it down, wiping it off. To bring back that white kind of color to it. So yeah, theirs does. It like, and just watching their lives. Nah, that see that wiped away too much. I'm gonna go back to the regular. Watching their video the other day of like just him using it, I really kind of like the way it looked. So I'm gonna go just with some ivory. Because I don't want the teeth. The teeth are gonna be a nice focal point, and I don't want them to look bad. So I'm gonna go. I don't know if you can tell the difference here. So here's ivory next to the heavy titanium white. I'm just gonna get kind of. I'm gonna get my brush wet and just put it on the tip of it. Then probably really point it at. It's down. So this is the first non-contrast paint of the project. Just kind of doing that. I'll probably go back in. That's pretty good. I like that. All right, let's go back with some skeleton horde though. Cheater. It's just a paint. It's not cheating. It's a paint. I'm gonna go back with skeleton horde and get. I'm gonna go right in between Get in there a little more. Yeah, I like that. It's not accurate to the image, but I want this to just pop a little bit. So just kind of getting in there. There. Yeah, I think that works. That looks good. That looks pretty good. Now, the part that I've been fearing. What's the worst color in the world to paint, everyone? It is yellow. So let's see what happens here. So I think, I'm going to kind of, for the eye, I think I'm going to use this, which is this contrast Iron Draws. Yeah, no. I'm going to do this. Bad Moon's yellow. And I'm going to go straight out of the bottle for this, for the eye. Now, do I want to use this for the goo that he's sitting in? I don't know. What does everybody think? Do we do yellow for the goo, or do we a brighter, more nuclear green, or will that look too close to that? What do we think? So let's do yellow on the eye first, straight out of the pot. Straight out. And I'm just going to brush right over everything. Look at that blend. Can you see under there? Like how it works. I'm going to kind of suck out. Brush this down a little. Oops, I'm off camera. Brush that down. And bam. That yellow works. And it's got the shading on there already. I'm not going to have to do anything. I'll leave it the way it is. Just kind of suck that out. Brush, wick away some of that. Do we paint the veins on the eyes? God damn you, Mark. Do we paint the veins on the eyes? I don't know. Figure kit. All right, what did message? Oh, you retracted it. So do we do that color for the goo? I think we do that. It'll tie it together. So let's do that. Gonna go back to the floppier brush. There is a darker yellow. What's this? Zippy jerk. All right, we'll do it. We'll do the veins. They're black though. They're not even like. I'm gonna mix this up really good. So this is like this kind of like orange kind of goo. Is that what we want to do? No. I don't know. What does it look like? I gotta find. Does anyone have a? Where can I find the image with? Do they have? No, they don't have an image with the goo. It's just the render. Because their original logo just looks like that. That's true. I think that's too orange. What do you think? That, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to try this other yellow. So I got this. Let's try this one. Imperial Fist. So supposedly everyone's using this Imperial Fist color to paint standard yellow on a lot of things. So let's, and I think what I'll do is I'll do it yellow and then maybe do like a thinner layer of like green. I am brave, sir. I am brave. So I'm going to do that. We'll use that. Let's do that. Let's just do that, see what happens. So let's do it. Right out of the pot. Found a hair, a brush hair. That purple really helped, though, on the mouth. I think that helped quite a bit. Okay. So let's do this. Let's start back here. Just gonna brush this on. And that, I think, works a little bit. Now, Army Painter has theirs is called just Speed Paint. And they have them available in markers, like with the brush, like a brush marker, which is kind of cool. That works. Did I miss anywhere? Now I'm kind of worried. I probably should have saved this till after the canister thing was done. I'm not sure I'm liking the yellow as a color. I don't know. What does everybody think? Yellow okay? I think yellow. I don't know. It's pretty good. Brush that. And there. What do we think? Yellow? Looks pretty good. Well, Trevor, you can go buy me some speed paint. Send it in the mail. That's what I got. That looks good. But I like the shades in there. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to do... Where's that crazy nuclear green? I think I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to hit some of the striking scorpion. Let's try that. Nah, I don't know. Oh, the Worthlings are here. Well, one of them. Do we stick with the yellow or we do something else? Oh, they're both here. Oh, thanks, guys. All right, so let's do... I'm going to dry this first. Let me dry it. Something just broke. Hair dryer, where are you? There you are. Guys, Mark, what color's the ooze normally? Like, what color did you intend for the ooze to be? So I think I'm going to go over the yellow with some of this green here. Let's test something out. But this has to be dry first. There's a spot on the brain I got to fix. And I'm not too happy with the brain now. I'm going to go back with some color. Fix that. Okay. So I think there's still some dry spots. So what I'm going to do, all these random cups of colors now. So what I'm going to do is mix, take some of this crazy striking scorpion green, which is kind of like a just, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gotta go there. It's gotta kind of, you don't want it to look the same. So I think I'm going to do this, which is striking scorpion green, but I am going to contrast medium the hell out of it, which I'm out of that, throw that out. Yeah, you can totally blend with contrast. And it's great. I'm telling you, airbrushing it is even better to do your blending and stuff. I think I'm going to, so that's, I'm going to try this. Let's try, I'm going to thin this down quite a bit. This kind of really bright kind of green. Let's just hit. That might be the way to go, but I'm going to mix some Lamian medium in with it to thin it. So it's not as, there we go. Thin it out a bit. Let's try this. Almost too, I don't know. It's close. Close to what I was thinking. Now, I think what I'm going to do, once that's in there, I think that's what I'm going to do. And then, let's get this, get this. Did I ruin it? I don't know. I don't know yet. Kind of does like a mix in there. Now, it's going to go straight yellow. I'm going to put that like, I'm going to kind of wet blend it. That makes sense. On top, I'm going to put like a drop in different areas. Pour some of this in a separate cup so I don't taint it. Just kind of use it to tap around on top of these bubbles. Just so it's not all very. Don't like what happened there. So let's bring. Probably should have waited a little longer for it to dry. But I want some of that blending to happen, so I'm not going to seal it. I think that's the way to do it. I think that's a little better. And let's see if I can highlight. It dries. It's drying really matte right there. I think I need some of this green right here. Put a green there, a little bit of green here. A little more green in here. So you get this nice gross. You kind of paint and blend as you go. I think that's it. I think that looks pretty good. I think that's what I want. I think that's pretty good. So back to some spots I don't like right now. So the brain. I'm gonna go with some of this purple I just used and really get it in that crack. The center, kind of feather it out a little. And then go, I don't even know how to fix it really. I feel like it needs like a flesh color on it. Which I might have to just kind of I'm going to just put some of this, what is this? Beige red. I'm going to take some water, a little bit of, it's too much. I'm going to put some of the purple in there with it. Some purple contrast paint in there. Will this work? Let's just see. That's kind of what I want. I feel like it's too mottled. Add a little white in there. Purple pink this up a bit. And I think what I'm going to do is just kind of pick out some of these spots so it's not as mottled looking. think that's helping a little. I don't know what it is, but it's bugging me. Back to this. Just look a little too samey everywhere. If that's a word. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit. It's showing up a lot brighter on camera than it is in real life. But I think that fits a little better. Good luck, Barry. And you're welcome. Flies are coming. All right, so that's done. That's done. What I got there. Now we need to paint veins on his eyes. Is that what we're doing? Really? So I think I'm going to do this. I'm just going to use this Black Legion paint for that. I probably should seal it before this, but I'm not going to. Because I'm asking for punishment here. So let's do, I'm going to do a little. So I'm going to roll my brush on something. I'm going to get a nice tip on my brush, and I'm going to, what does this look like? So it looks like a little Y's. So let's get in there, camera. It looks a little too wide. I don't know how to fix that. That works. I'm happy with that. I'm leaving it. I'm doing it. I think that works for me. I might, let's see if I screw this whole thing up. You ready? In one tiny brush stroke, will I screw up an entire eyeball? Don't like right there. Oh, I kind of fixed it. It works. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. It felt a little too gray in here, so I'm going to darken this up a little bit more. Some other details that are missing, I need to go back and I'm going to just use this Blood Angels red again on. Now, I guess the sculptor missed the little blood drips on the top of the head. So I'm going to not do those, but I'm going to pick out some of these little sores. Take some of that red. And I'm going to get it in there. That. And I think I'm going to leave this one, because some of them are dark, like kind of holes. So I'm going to leave that one the way it is. And I'm going to do, I think, some of the black in that one. There. Go. We'll do that. Good? I think that's good. Now I messed this up. Right there. Right there. Now that this has dried a little bit more, I'm going to go back. Keep going with some highlights. It's here. A little there, a little there. And good to go. All right. So that makes those pop a little more. I like that. Probably let it dry and do some more, but let's move on. I think it needs something else. I'm going to go back with that blue on the brain. I'm going to go back to that blue I mixed up a long time ago. Now this had some yellow on there, so it kind of turned this weird green. Let's add a little more medium so we get more of a wash than a contrast. I'm going to take some of this color I don't know, accidentally kind of made. And what does this look like if I put that over it? I like that. Let me go over this. It just felt too, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I'm going to wipe some of this off though. Yeah, that looks better. I like that a little better. Kind of tapping it around too. Some of those cracks. Yeah, yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. I'm liking that better. Okay. Now, this, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I need some whites and some gray. I need some gray. So I'm trying to pick up and fix this. The neutral gray. This is just a regular gray paint from Pro Acryl. And I'm going to I need to fix some stuff here. So I'm just going to take some gray. And I'm using this giant floppy brush here. And there's a mark I don't like here. I'm going to kind of tap that out. I go back in here and just kind of add some gray. Probably have to re-dry brush some of this, but I'm going to have to fix spots that got messed up. Now, especially when it comes to fixing things, we got to get the edge. Don't want to use this brush. I want to use this brush. Nope. What's the other brush I've been using? I put it back. So I'm just going to take this brush. I got to fix the edge. I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing. color should the can be? The drum that he's coming out of. Like, what is that? Like a reddish brown or something? To get around. That's what, yeah, I was thinking that, but I'm trying to find the best way to do it. This kind of paint. Ah, this is where it's going to start getting hard to not ruin anything. This is supposed to look kind of sloppy, so I'm purposely not being super careful. Yeah, I wonder if I should do it brown and then dry brush some silver over it. Like, let's try that. Let's try, because I want it to look rusty, but let's do, this is a kind of a good color. So this is Rattling Grime, and this could fail spectacularly. But I think if we use this as a base, and then where did my, there it is. Kind of have to re-dry brush this. So let's do that. So it's going to look terrible at first. It's not going to look like what we want. Where's my dry brush palette? There it is. And where are we at? 2 hours? About-ish? So 2-hour paint job so far. And on my lap. Let's hold him by the hair. Let's kind of bring this back. And I think, wait. All right, stop there. So just kind of brought it back with some dry brushing. Is it perfect? Nope. So let's try this now. Rattling Grime is kind of like just a gross brown color, which is fun. But I think if I do this right, I can use it as like kind of like a base. And I'm going to just go back to this brush. No, let's go to a bigger one. It's kind of cheap, gross brush. And I'm going to kind of hold it here. Not dark enough. What's going on with this? It's not really what I was thinking. Let's go with it. Let's just see what happens. Nah, not dark enough. So let's do Wildwood. I think might be a little closer. Again, still a contrast paint. Yeah, that one is very. What is up with that? Let's try this. Yeah, that's a little better. I have to come back and touch up the drips. Now I'm gonna try and erase that in a minute. Yeah, it's dark. Let's get this. I don't like how that's. I want this thing to look super rusty. So what plan is here? Let's dry brush some metal over this. Oops. All right. Tinier brush. Go back in between letters. I need something to. What do I have? That'll fit in there. No. I need something. I need. This fit? Yeah, that kind of works. There we go. That's gonna get it dry. Probably should have done gray. Or no. I don't know. Thanks, Michael. Are the Worthlings still here? What color's the logo? Black? I don't want to do it black. I was thinking red to match the goo on his mouth. Okay. So let's do this now. Let's take some. Where is it? I know it was over here because I just used it. So we're going to use some this is called Warlock Bronze. And I'm going to just dry brush some of this around. To give it kind of like a metallic sheen first. I'm running out of space. Cupfest 99. Out of the way. So wait for a second. Okay. Save the colors I use so we know. What's up? That up. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. All right. We got some room. All right. So I'm going to use some of this, which is just a metallic bronze kind of color. Like that. And I'm going to use this first. So let's try that. Dip some of this. Just to metallic this up just a bit. Just slightly. But to just work this around. I can if you want. I gotta find them on in my files. I can print some more. Uh-oh. I think correct me, Trevor. I think Games Work, not Game. Oh my God, Army Painter has metallic speed paints, if I'm not mistaken. Games Workshop does not. So I'm just gonna kind of work this around. Come back in a second. Hold some of this. Then now I'm going to use just some silver, some lead belcher, which is like your basic, just kind of like dark metallic. I'm not even cleaning my brush. I'm going right into that. I'm just going to kind of pick this out. showing up as much as I want. That's kind of the look I was going for. That's what I was kind of envisioning. It's close. Not exactly what I wanted. Now, normally I probably should have sealed everything because I have to seal this at some point and it'll kind of take off that metallic look. But I wanted to just keep going. Let's hit edge. Back with some just straight this. I'm gonna paint this edge. I don't know. It's impossible to see this on camera, I think. And I think, nope. Yeah, there's some spots. It keeps. Now, I think that this gives us a nice spot to fix something. So you'll notice like I got some of that paint on the drips. So what we could do is just kind of repaint that area white and go back over it with some of the colors we already did to fix it. I think that'd be the best way to fix that, but let's do this first. I would probably throw another black wash. I could maybe use some Dirty Down on there. Maybe we'll do that for the last second. Now, did I accidentally leave a... Yes, or is that in the... Of course there's a brush hair in there. Oh my God, get out of there. Just scrape it off. All right. Yeah, I think I will. But let's... What color should the logo be? I think maybe do the red to match that. It'll kind of tie it together. For the most part, painting is done. It needs to weather a bit on there, but I think... And then gloss, which I'll wait till everything's fully dry and I'll gloss it. But let's just real quick go back to that original Blood Angels red. And I still haven't weathered this up, but let's go just take some of that Blood Angels red. And I'm not doing anything to this. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. just do the red right over the lettering. If we did it black, it would get lost. Even that red looks a little too dark. Got the shakes. I'm really eating today. Maybe that's it. Had some rise mushroom coffee mixed in with my protein shake, and that's it. Now, if I really wanted those to pop, I could have done them white again. It is not. Hamburger helper. Got to get to the bar. All right. So maybe I'll leave that. I don't like it. So let's do this. Let's take some of this color and put it over that and see what that does. Let's take some of that. Just carefully kind of brighten it up a little bit. Now let's try this. I got an idea. Let's let that dry. Let's try that. So let's do this. Let's soak that up, soak that up. I'll let this dry. Let that dry. And let's take a, oops, let me clean this. My brush is really good after this. All right, so let's try this. Let's do, I'm gonna take a small dry brush. This one's all messed up. Let's see if this works. So I'm gonna take some of the white from the beginning, and I'm going to dry brush right onto, dry brush over that red. Okay, now just kind of kind of go for the middle of it, like that. Now, 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 now I'm going to go back with this color. Hit over that. And it theoretically should be brighter towards the center, darker towards the edges, but I don't know. Nope, it kind of loses that. No, it works. Let's see. Let's finish the whole thing. Actually, in person, like looking on the camera, it's not as noticeable, but in person, it's a lot brighter in the center. Again, I got a random. It's a bad thing about dry brushing is the stupid hair bristles. Let's do this. Oops, my hand slipped. Okay, I'm good with that, I think. I think that's good. It pops enough for me. You could probably do that with any colors. Yeah, I think that looks okay. So I think randomly, I go back, just brighten up the edge here and pick out. It's too wet. Do this a little more. And then I'm going to pick out the circle, the rivets. I think I need to use a brighter silver for that. So let's get that. Yeah, let's just use this old one. Yeah, I like that a lot. That is a cool, easy way to kind of. It works. I don't know how noticeable it is though. It works, and you can go back and I think with a darker, like the darker color, and wash over the bottom and the top of each letter. You got yours already? Nice. I gotta order some stuff this weekend. You're talking about Paul's bust, right? Or did you get something new? Yeah, it does. You notice it more away. Cool. Oh, messed that one up. Of course. I don't even think you need to do that, but I don't know. I think I'm going to skip the bottom ones. So they look a little darker. I don't know. Maybe I'll hit this edge. To capture some light there. That's got to get wiped. Tape's coming apart. All right. So I'm going to go with that. Now, let's try this. There is a dot of white in each eye in the artwork. So, or is that yellow on that? I'm going to do that. I think I screwed it up. Ah! All right. We go back to the Black Legion. Real quick and do a couple things with this. First, yeah, I messed that up. I don't like that at all. Trying to round these highlights back out. That's true. I haven't dropped it yet. And now you just jinxed me. I lost a paintbrush, though. You weren't here for that, I don't think. Or were you? Okay. I think that's good. Leave it like that. Okay. Now, back to this stuff. I mean, what the? Need this brush. So I'm going to go back with the Black Legion. And I think, no, it's not thin enough. Go back with this. I just want to kind of add a little bit of a shadow here. And I'm going to feather this in a second. I just want to get in here. that. And I'm going to take some water. And I'm just going to kind of... And that dried quick. What the heck? It looks a little darker towards the bottom. Same thing at the top. It's just some water, feather it out a bit, kind of turn it into a wash. And I think I'll leave it like that. Yeah, Brent, how's it going? Getting everything organized. So stop there. All right. Now we have to, I think we're going to bring back to life some of the mistakes here that we made. So I'm going to thin down some of that white. I'm going to thin it down quite a bit. I'm going to go back, paint this back. I don't know if this is going to work. It might not. Air dry that. Yeah, Brent does a great job. A lot better than me. All right, let's see if this works. Let's see if I can fix this. So I'm gonna go back. We got, where's that? Did I mix any? Oh, here it is. I'm gonna go back to that original, that nuclear kind of green that I made. I'm gonna brush over those white fixer uppers right there. Okay. Then back to the yellow. Yeah, Scott hates me. Had a good day. And then I'm going to go back with this yellow. Kind of brighten it up to kind of match it. I think that works. So yeah, we were able to kind of touch up some of that. Bring that back. But I think once you get a gloss on there, that would look kind of cool and that would work. So let's try this now. No, he's got better things to do. He hates me. He hates me. He doesn't support anything I do. He barely supports the show. He's trying to get me to cancel it every time. Let me wipe up my spillage. He's, probably sitting in a recliner somewhere, sleeping, pretending that he's working on stuff. All right. All right. Actually, you could call it a day right there, I think. Guys, that's a what? 3-hour paint job? Less than? I think you could call it a day on that if you wanted to. 3 hours. And not very many paint colors at all. Man, it's wonderful stuff. I think it's great for beginners and getting people interested in painting and like just being able to succeed at something difficult like that. I think helps quite a bit. So let's just, I haven't used my dirty down in a while. So let's try some of this stuff. Let's try some dirty down. Let's shake it up. Mr. Kilroy. Now, it's still good. I haven't opened this bottle in a long time. It is kind of gummy there on the bottom, so I'm going to stir, give it a good stir. Look at that glop. Yeah, I totally I think it's a great jumping off point. You're right. Because I think what you should do is go back and then start adding some highlights and some shadows in there. But I just wanted to do a straight, get your colors blocked in, ready to go. Nice basic paint job. I love gummy bottoms. I love them. All right, let's give this a good stir. Good shake. Yeah, now the agitator's working. All right, so some dirty down. Just a little bit. We don't want a ton of this on there, I think. So I'm going to try to clean up so we can get a better look at this. I'm just going to take it some right out of the cap, and let's do it on the back first. Just kind of hit under here. Kind of streak it down. Add a little water on top of it. Probably should have a little bit stiffer brush for this, but I'm just playing around with it. No, it would definitely pool up. Let's see what happens. Ah, I knew it, Brent! I dropped it! Thanks a lot. Almost made it. Almost made it. It's a hard kit to hold, though. It works best as you kind of like build it up. Um, I don't. It's pretty cheap actually. I don't remember how much they're selling it for. And some water, because water is what really makes this stuff shine. You kind of want the water to pool where it would normally pool. Putting some of this dirty paint water on there, it doesn't matter. Let's do some under the letters. You can kind of see the paint that's already there. I just go over it with some water, move it around, let it kind of flow back. And this is why I wasn't too concerned about the way that looked, because I knew this would be kind of doing the heavy lifting. Trying to get it up there. I think everyone should have a bottle of Dirty Down. It change your life. And it smells great. It's you can actually feel your brain cells dying. So I think I need to go back. I'm not too happy with the inner rim of this, but I'm wondering if like it would kind of be coated in green goo anyway. Yeah. Just kind of do this on the whole edge. I'm pretty sure our promo code will still work. MCTV or Dirty Down over on Goblin's Hut. But I like that, and it's gonna brighten up as it dries. So what was that? Palette. All right. So let's hit this with the hairdryer. We can watch it magically appear. See that? Look at that. Look at that. Will you look at that? Just look at it. Will you look at that? Instant rust. And as it dries, it's going to get even brighter and brighter. And this was just straight their normal rust. They have this one. Let's try that. Let's just try it in a couple spots. The yellow rust, which might be cool for this. Gotta stir it up. Get that glop out of the bottom. I know it's expensive, but man, it's great stuff. These are great. These little spoon things. Where am I looking? These spoon stir things. And I think the speed paint cartoon, or like the speed paint stuff, really lends itself well to like a cartoony paint style. So if you are doing, yeah, hairdryer does help, and it's water is the key. The key is water. Let's just add some of this more yellow rust to kind of. Water is the key. Just kind of hit this in some spots. I think I'm just going to do that. Let's hit this with the. Now I'm not even using hot air. I'm just blowing air on this. Let's see if it. Didn't do much that time. Let's do a little more water. Oh, there's the yellow. I see it popping through. That kind of yellow appearing around the rivets and stuff. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it like that. You could go back and I would say like highlight those rivets and things, but I think that looks pretty good. All right, guys, I'm going to call this done. I think I had I would have to gloss. You got to gloss the goo, gloss the goo. But I think what a 3-hour paint job on an afternoon just to crank something out and have fun. I would go and highlight, do a little bit more highlights on the brain, probably. But for the most part, that's pretty nice. What's everybody think? Great little kit, fun little bust, yeah, this was, I think, fun to do. And I love, look at that dirty down. Look how good that looks. So stupid. And look how easy it was. I love rust. And look at that. That's cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think this was fun. I'll do more videos like this, but like if you wanted to push this, and make this even better, you could go with, I think you could just go in with like some shades and add which I don't think I'm going to do. You just go and add some washes, like, and highlight, pick out parts like I was talking earlier, make things pop a little more. You could layer colors on top of each other. I really, seriously, everyone should think about trying to use a contrast paint through an airbrush. It's fantastic. And it works really, really nice. But yeah, that's it. I want to thank everybody for being here. This was fun. This was really cool. Thanks for spending your Saturday. Let me get rid of this image. Thanks for spending your Saturday with me. This was great. I'm going to go order a pizza. Let's get back to me. Just so everybody who's like, that's how big it is. It's not a big piece. and but kind of in normal light. It really looks really nice. So that's cool. Little Pesty Pete. So cool. All right, everybody. That was fun. We'll talk to you soon. Gotta get the next. Man, my beard looks terrible. That's what I look like on camera. Jeez. All right. We'll see everybody. We'll see everybody next time on well, Live from the Bench. I'm loving it. Thanks, Mark and Shayna, for sending this to me. Love it. And thank you guys for pushing me to get it done. Thanks for being here and pushing me. Make sure it's good. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.